This podcast is proud to be part of the TalkSport Fan Network. TalkSport. Powered by fans.
Hello, good evening and welcome to another episode of the Wednesday Week. As Sheffield Wednesday in the last week managed to double their massive point tally to 2 points by securing a 1-1 draw at home to Middlesbrough, we then went on to play the Swans at the weekend. Our away day in South Wales didn't go as planned, and as the fan base has gone into absolute meltdown towards the manager, the players and of course the chairman. Is there light at the end of the tunnel? Can we see it starting to change? Assembled tonight is Ash, John and Simon and myself to try and draw out the positives. Lads, now, this is the bit of podcasting that people don't talk about, the dark side. We are 8 games in, still no wins. I tell you what, we're under the lights. We had a tennis ball protest planned. Let's talk about the only real positives that we've got from the last week. Simon, did you catch that Middlesbrough game?
I did, yes. Game of two halves, wasn't it?
Absolutely.
Game of two halves. We were definitely the better team in the first half, but it wasn't hard because Middlesbrough were awful, I thought, in the first half. But what it showed to me was there were a couple of shining lights. I think Paul Valentin was the one on the wing. He basically... Well, he ran his legs into the ground because in the second half, I don't think he ran once, did he, in the second half? But what it showed was, which I keep saying, and I've said in our group chat, is this one up front isn't working. We were putting the ball into the box and it went over Fletcher and there was nobody behind him. We just lacked 2 strikers. I think if we'd had 2 up front, I think we probably would have gone in half-time 2 or 3 now up. And then the game's different, isn't it? But we didn't. And then second half, Borough manager showed the class that he probably showed last season when he turned Borough around and made into a decent team. He swapped it around, changed it around, and we didn't have an answer for it. And we held on for a 1-1 draw against a team who was sat a point below us. Depressing, isn't it?
I mean, that's as big as it gets when people start talking about 6-pointers, John. I mean, you know, like Simon says, it was a game of two halves. I mean, did you feel like something could change with Sheffield Wednesday in that first half?
We did have a lot more positivity about us that first half. It seemed like we were. I mean, let's be real though. There were 2 teams that are bottom 2 for a reason. You could see there were low scoring teams with struggling to do much in the final third, particularly. Mm-hmm. Obviously, we've got us all goal-scoring problems, and as we've alluded to there, playing the one up front isn't really paying dividends for us. But fair play first half. Even I know there's been some mention that people thought that the tennis balls disrupted as momentum, but I thought the momentum kind of came after that, to be fair. I don't really think it affected us at all, really. And we were on top, but the trouble is, and what's going to be troubling us all season, is we haven't got goals in the side, so we can't get that cushion, that 2-0 lead, that 3-0 to put the game away. And their team had a much more effect than ours did. And second half, up to 75 minutes, at times it literally looked like a training match, type V defence. And we were spending 3 minutes trying to win the ball back to give it away in 3 seconds, and it was just a horrible watch. I think they started to run out of steam a little bit towards after that point, and then Cisco made substitutions and tactical switches to make sure we didn't lose the game and just try and get a point, which again, we needed a win, being the home side and the impetus being on us and the position that we're in. But we just, cut us cloth and just took a point. So, not a great result, and didn't really do either side a favour, did it? A point. So
not particularly. But then Middlesbrough managed to rectify that at the weekend. Ash, how's it going, pal? You all right? You having a lovely time? I know you're the upbeat voice. I want you to try and take us out of this slump. I want you to keep it upbeat. What did you reckon to the light show, pal? All right, yeah.
Oh, I love a good light show, Dan. It's good, yeah. Like I said, Middlesbrough, yeah, definitely a game of two halves. Chalk and cheese, all of those great footballing cliches. Yeah, I think we did look bright in the first half, I've got to say. I know Windass went off quite early, didn't he, with an injury, and Masaba came on and made a bit of a impact, didn't he? But at 2-3 minutes he was on and obviously got a great goal, I've got to say.
Felt lovely to him as well. He took it really well, didn't he?
Yeah, it was. And to say he's not been really playing that much and obviously not got a sniff at goal much, it was good to see he's got that instinct of first time finish. It was good to see. The stats at the first half, I think we ended up with 54% possession, which, yeah. And then you look at it at 90, we finished up with 38.1. So that's mint, isn't it? So I think that tells you, doesn't it, how the second half went. A bright start. Yeah, first half, probably one of the better first halves we've had, or half of football we've had. But like Simon said, I think Middlesbrough were awful. Absolute dog shit. Excuse my French. Said I weren't going to swear. Or save it all up for later anyway. But it just showed you like bottom two teams for a right if you'd have watched the way Middlesbrough played first half and the way that we played second half. So I think a point each is a fair reflection, but it's a massive missed opportunity. Massive. Yeah. I don't know what I don't know what he said. It's in the half time. I think he just went, "Hey up lads, cracking first half, but I've got 50 quid on 1-1." Do you know? And it was just awful.
The game previous at home where we didn't have a shot on target. So when we actually had a shot on target in the first 10, 15 minutes, people actually celebrated like we'd scored. Mm-hmm. And then I actually looked at the statistics like yourself, Ash, and we had through the entire game 2 shots on target in the entire game.
So one was a goal.
And one was a goal. So you look at the fact that we are going, oh yeah, it was a really bright first half. We had 2 shots on target and one was the goal. That's depressing. Jesus.
It is depressing. Now there's two things I want to talk about. Sorry, Ash, did I cut you off there? Did I cut you off, Simon? Sorry, my apologies.
All right, so no, crack on.
I feel like I took the wind out of your sails there, but I feel like I'm trying to draw some positivities from you because after this first half at Middlesbrough, it's all downhill. Now, there's 2 things I want to talk about, and Simon, I want to talk to you about the first one, is that Windass injury. I thought that was truly one of the most embarrassing things I've ever seen from a shit-kicking knobhead on a football pitch. That was Sunday League AF, as the kids would call it. I thought it was embarrassing. He was about 10 yards from him, and then thought, I'm going to knock this geezer. And then what happened?
You know what he struck me as? Because when he made contact with him, it was with his thigh, wasn't he? And it was just one of the most... I mean, mate, my son plays football, and their challenges are far better time than that. And my mate just turned to me and went, he looks like he's just done a Forestier and he wants Christmas off. Because it was almost one of those tackles where you think to yourself, he's fed up of playing in this side. He's just he wants to go and injure himself so he doesn't have to play in this team. And that's what it struck me, because professional footballers should never make a tackle like that. I mean, he could have broken his leg, to be honest.
He could have broke his own leg, the silly son.
Yeah, exactly.
It was a Neymar challenge when it's his sister's birthday next week.
Yes, yeah. Remember when Forestieri used to get injured just before Christmas, and then his Instagram feed, and he was in like Argentina, back in Argentina, having huge rib grills and stuff like that, and then all of a sudden he'd reappear in February. I expected to see him in Hull having a kebab at Christmas, Windass with his dad.
I don't know if it's still open, but I'm pretty sure that around that area is everybody goes to Damon's for their birthday. Is that still a thing? It's been a while since I've been
now, man. It's a spoons.
It's the spoons in Sheffield. Yeah, Damon's is now Spoons.
Yeah.
What, that building was massive. I bet that's a banging Spoons, isn't it?
It is actually. And the toilets are on the same level. There's no stairs to the loo. Yeah.
Wow. I tell you what, I'll come back to Ash on that one after his day out in Swansea, because I feel like he needs his hiking equipment to go and get to the Jankers. Now, I can't remember what the other. Right, I tell you what, John, I'll come to you about this one. So, Paul Valentin for me has been one of these signings that we've made over the summer. How many has it been? 12, 14, 13? I can't remember. I lost bloody count, if I'm honest. But I thought Valentin was one of the most average ones we'd done, if I'm honest. He didn't really set the world alight for me when we'd seen him. And ironically, Delgado was the one that stuck out as being one of the bright lights of the signings, and then has descended into obscurity, a la Sheffield Wednesday. But it was a good run out for Valentin. But did you feel like his runs into the box were a little bit wasted, given what we had up front?
Yeah, it was quite bright, wasn't it, in the Middlesbrough game, Valentin? And, he'd not really shown us much before or had much opportunity. So I think, there was a bit of a wavelength issue, wasn't there, with him, with some of the runs, like you said, he was making. But I think it's just lack of confidence. I just don't believe the team even believes that they've got goals in them or enough goals in them. And that's the problem. So it's like Delgado, I've not seen the best of him because he's played out of position. And this is another point we can all come on to. Players being played out of position is not going to help the cause either. Formations are changing every week. So Valentin's had to bide his time, and he come in and he did well on Saturday against Middlesbrough, but then not so well. But then again, no one did. At Swansea, they were all very poor, weren't they? And so Valentin, he deserves another shot, I suppose. But I think the problem is now it's just that I don't believe, like you mentioned Windass earlier as a prime example, I don't believe they believe in him or his system. No. And it shows body language, whatever,
It's the epitome of lost the dressing room, innit? You know what I mean? Yeah. It's the epitome of it. Like you can tell, like Windass went running around on that Middlesbrough game as a way of self-promotion, not in a way of wanting to dig one out for the team. It was like, so if I play rate well here, somebody will chuck me out of this team because I've had enough of this shit. And that's essentially the way it came across. Ash, listen, we'll wrap Middlesbrough, but I just wanted to ask you, I mean, that second half then, the way it panned out, you mentioned the percentages earlier on and all the rest of it, and whatever Carrick said to him at half time must have been really impressive, or he must have shown pictures of his basement and gone, I've got your kids. Something like that. I don't know. He probably has.
It was I think Carrick changed it. He brought Isaiah Jones on for their left back, who had a proper torrid time against Valentin. That was Valentin's home debut as well. So, I mean, he has been starved of time. Has he been unfit?
Just for the listeners, just on the audio medium, Ash has decided to smash his room up. So
that's without a drink. I usually do that with a drink.
I thought you were saving that for when we talked about Swansea. Go on.
He's still angry about it. He's still
don't.
Teacups flying, tea trays.
It was his home debut. Apologies, everyone. Home debut. Is he not being fit or match fit? There's differences, isn't there, between them? Has he just not been fancied? But you don't know, do you? With Cisco's formations, with his team tactics, with whatever he's trying to do, you don't know if people are not quite fit or are fit, played out of position, not fancied, X, Y, Z. There could be anything. But come second half, like I said, Carrick saw there was something wrong, changed it. And obviously, they did play a lot better.
I wonder what that's like. Something's not gone right, and he's gone. Whoa.
Funny that, isn't it? And I think Valentin had the ball once in the second half, from being such an attacking threat in the first to being nullified.
And by the end of it, we were lucky to.
Was knackered. Sorry, Dan.
Yeah, he was. We were lucky to draw, though, weren't we?
Yeah.
No, I don't think no, because Byers had a chance, didn't he, on 85th that he should have probably scored. So
they had one chalked off as well.
Yeah, they had one. Yeah, I suppose you could say that, but I think a 1-1 was on fair reflection of two absolute dog shit teams. And we won the first half, they won the second half. Call it 1-1, have a point, move on to the next game that we're going to get 3 points.
Yeah,
I don't
so
understand why they were so poor though. Because last season they were in the playoffs, weren't they? Or on the fringes of. I mean, they've lost Chuba Akpom, didn't they? But I don't think they've lost many more.
Cameron Archer, they lost like 38 goals. I think them two got last season.
Right, Cameron Archer as well. Yeah.
That's a bit of an issue.
38 goals. We'll be lucky to get that this season.
We're lucky to get 8
from 2 strikers. We want to get it from 5 we've got, or but it was move on into it. I think we looked at it for 3 points because they were so poor, and it wasn't. It was like you said, Dan. We doubled our points tally, which is marvelous.
So, like you said, right? So Sheffield Wednesday had a rich run of fixtures in which we could try and get some points. And I think it was last week that I said, if we get 6 points from these 2 games, 2 teams that are right next to us in the league, I would go running in the sea. Everything is dry so far, and I feel like it's going to be dry for a number of months until a big change happens. Because coming up at the weekend, we're way down in the south coast of Wales to Abertawe, as they call it. Now, Simon and Ash, you went down there on the Wenger bus. Simon, how's that mixing it with the working classes? How was that for you?
It was great. Yeah, I had a 1-day weekend because I don't remember yesterday at all whatsoever. I was absolutely hanging yesterday. So it was great. To be honest, everything was superb apart from the 90 minutes that was sandwiched in the middle of a football game. And we didn't see all the 90 minutes, did we, Ash, either? We ended up staying downstairs for about 10-15 minutes.
You know, like, Simon, just to cut in, you know, like they say, golf's the spoil of a good walk. It's like Wednesday's the spoil of a day out, isn't it? That's what
it was absolutely the perfect day. We ended up going to Port Talbot to the Spoons, of which Ash can tell you about the stairs. And we made a decision to sit in the corner with our lads and order from the app. And everybody else off the bus went to the bar, of which promptly the manager went, "We're not serving football fans," and chucked them all out. Bar us. Yeah. You'd have loved it, Dan.
That'd have sent me over the edge. Like, Ash, do you remember we went to the races and didn't see one horse all day? Did you not find how difficult it was to spend your money? You know what I mean?
To see.
I did see it, horse, because we were in the bowl in the middle. We're on a stag do. We're all in suits, and this is what, July, wasn't it? It was hot, and I had a 3-piecer on, and I couldn't spend any money. Couldn't put a bet on. Couldn't get a bloody drink. Couldn't, you know what I mean? All I did was come out with my shoes torn to bits. But I think I've told that story already. Now, Ash, how did you find it?
Yeah, I think the mood on the bus was pretty upbeat. I think obviously the show, like we've talked about, the showing in the first half against Middlesbrough, and obviously the second half was dog poo. But I think that with Swansea being in equally poor form as we were, and it was an away day, it was far, and a lot of people making the trip like they always do. And I tweeted it the other day as well. The away fans, the club, just don't deserve us. Every one of you who, it doesn't matter if you go away, but everyone who supports them, especially hard-earned cash going away, it's hats off to you all that do it, because the club is appalling in it at the minute. But we got there, and it was good. Like I say, it's don't obviously condone drinking, and it's not the be-all and end-all of everything, but it does make the football a little bit better. But just once again, just awful from minute 2.
Yes.
I'll give him the first
Absolutely.
minute. I'll give him the first minute. Minute 2.
How was the atmosphere pre-kickoff when you're all in the stand? Were it upbeat? Were it downtrodden a bit?
In the concourse, there were a few renditions of obviously Chancery Get Out and Cisco Out. It didn't feel, the atmosphere didn't feel negative or anything like that. Just a few spatterings of obviously singing, but by no means it wasn't the majority. But it was, well, it wasn't, like I say, it wasn't an atmosphere that you think, oh shit, someone's going to kick off, or it's going to get really, really furiferous. I think that's the word.
Vociferous.
Oh, thank you, that one.
Yeah. No, it wasn't. No, there wasn't an undercurrent that sometimes you get. There wasn't an undercurrent of this could, like a powder keg, it could go off. And I think, like Ash said on the way down, I think a lot of people felt some sort of positivity from following on from the Tuesday night's game.
If you look at that video that we put out after the game on Sunday, it starts. Everybody's chanting and singing on the coach. Everybody's having a good time, and then as soon as the football starts, it just falls to shit. Like it just gets better. As soon as the whistle goes, we're like, well, I've had a good day, lads. You know what I mean? It's just where it ends.
I think the huge problem is, and we've seen this nearly every game now, is we haven't got an identity. And it seems to come across. One of the guys at work was saying today, he's played football for years, and he was saying, I don't know what formation he's trying to play, but it's no formation that is known to man. It's only known to him. And I was looking at sometimes the BBC sort of show the formations, and basically they drew a line, and then I think we had like 8 up front, because I don't think the BBC knew what sort of formation we were playing.
No, they don't. If it depends on what media outlet you were looking at, you'd have a different formation every time.
Yeah, absolutely. They look lost. Moving Delgado onto the opposite wing isn't working. He's trying to shoehorn him in there.
If only we had an attacking fullback that could get into the bottom and whip them crosses.
The left feet. Well,
I'll tell you what. Listen, let's go through the bits, right? So I've made some notes on various points through the game, because I agree with you, Simon. It comes across to me like, if anybody ever used to watch Red Dwarf back in the day, there was a really funny scene where they were going through like time leaps, and like the cat would go, so what is it? And then it would repeat over and over again. But like, I feel like with Xisco, you've got the players there going, right, the philosophy. So what is it? And he goes, well, we're going to play 4-4-2, innit? And he's Greek apparently. And then we're going to stick it into all these things, and that's what's going to happen. And then like the next game, so what is it? Well, we're going to play 5-3-2, innit? We're going to play a supporting striker. And then the next game, so what is it? Well, we're going to play 3 at the back and then 5 in the midfield, and it just changes every time. I don't. What you know? We
tell you what, I think we'd be
Xisco ball. What is it?
I think we'd be better with fucking Gino Di Campo, Dan.
who actually is from Sheffield.
Yeah.
So let's go through it, right? So and we spoke about this off air, and I kind of wanted to bring it to the fore. So John, I've written penalty, short and shirt pull, Stonewall. What did you think, John?
I watched it briefly before we come on air, and I wasn't too sure at first glance, but being reliably informed by both Ash and Si that it was a penalty, albeit soft. It were. If you're going to tug on a player's shirt in this modern era, they're going to go down like a sack of spuds, aren't they? And sure enough, that's what happened. So, but so early in the game, and just again with this team, we've only got 1 goal in us, haven't we? So you're already thinking best we can do now is a draw, and then you go 2 down, don't you? And it just sets the tone for the game. Just reminds me of them other poor teams in the past where they get a goal down and their edge just drop, and they think, that's it, we've done. We're not getting anything.
I'm looking at Cheltenham now going, I know how you feel, lads. You know what I mean? What did you think, Ash, to the penalty decision? You're still on mute, bro.
You're on mute, mate.
I'm having a nightmare. Sorry, everyone.
You were doing really well as well. You were in and out. You were on and off. You were doing dead good. How's that hangover working out for you, pal? Is it a 2-day?
Mate, no, I was fine. Me, yesterday morning, I was banging, so I'm all right. Yeah, I know. I tweeted from the car that I didn't think it was a penalty on first watch. I thought, now got proper robbed there. Then the benefit of replays, Stonewaller. You don't make them. The thing is, the defenders caught. Yeah, I know this is stupid. Defenders caused that.
Mm-hmm.
It's easy for the ref to give that. The defenders pulled his shirt a little bit, then went for the shorts. Then he'd had his socks, his shoes, and his pants as well, wasn't it? But it was a Stonewall. It was definitely. It was stupid. After he had a great game against Middlesbrough, makes a silly mistake like that.
If you look at it, because I was the same as Ash at his first look. Where I was stood behind goal, it was just to my right here, and he's dived, and half time I said to Ash, I said, that were never a penalty. And he went, trust me, it was. I've watched it again. So I watched it back after we got home yesterday when I was searing headache. And yes, definite penalty. Definite penalty. But the thing is, he's gone. Why pull him back? Because you've got a defender in there who can then come across and cover it. What why you've lost your man. As soon as he goes into the box, if you've got a hand behind him, don't even have to be pulling the shirt. If your hands are on him, he will go down with the slightest of touches, and it will be a penalty. The referee, from where he was stood, will see that contact and the guy go down. It's a penalty. You should have a defender coming across anyway to cover you, one of the centre backs playing the three at the back. So you should have Dijon, I think, was playing that position to come across. You know, it's and that to me points at the fact that they do not know their roles in the team.
I was gonna say something along those lines there, Simon. So if you look at the goal from last week, the previous weekend, they've all run into one. I've forgotten the team we were playing, but the one where Patterson got dropped by his man,
Ipswich.
And then Ipswich, and then he should have trusted his teammates to then cover him out, and then covered the geezer who actually scored, and then had the goal to then go, "What you bloody doing?" And it was like, well, you should have covered him, if I'm honest, CP, because you should have let us do it. And it's that there's a distrust between the players right now of what they're capable of and what they can do.
And also as well, I don't think they know what their role is, Dan. I actually think that they don't know their role. So what is it? Exactly. So what is it? And I think they are looking at each other. And Bannon sort of showed that with, I think it's the second goal, isn't it, where he lost the ball and then tried to come back in.
This was the next point I got. So Bannon, Ash, have we spoke about the Bannon slide before? I think we have, haven't we? The one where he kind of pulls that pose, doesn't he, where he's kind of sliding.
Was that where they had one disallowed? They had one.
That's
disallowed,
the disallowed one. He kind of does this theatrical looking slide that is that's like an handbrake on a canoe, and then that we always seem to end up losing the ball. He's not a tackler. I get it. That he's not there. He's not there for it. But when he does that slide, he never seems to come away with the ball. They go breaking down the left-hand side as a result. And then luckily, the lino pulled us back. I mean, bear in mind, that's 2 games and 2 disallowed goals. We're on -9 for the season. Could have been -11 if they could watch their lines. You know what I mean? So what is it?
I think is on the points you made about they don't know what they're doing. I think it's the positioning that you look at. Obviously, the formation comes out, or what's perceived to be the formation, and you're thinking, he don't play there. It's like they've got the formation for Saturday, which was obviously Swansea. You've got like Buckley playing up front on the right in a 3. Has Buckley ever played up front on the right in a right? He plays deeper. He's a centre midfielder, deeper midfielder. And he's got Valentin on the right. He's got Delgado on the left, and he's got. I tell you what's the worst thing is he even got Hendrick on the fucking pitch.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. He is dog shit. Sorry.
I mean that. I think
he's dog shit. Awful.
Why did he die for that ball on that last one? It really annoyed me.
I don't. I think obviously the penalty was like the 28th minute, something like that. We're going to the end of the first half. Obviously, the fans aren't happy. Various reasons, not just stuff on the pitch, but a lot of things are irking the fans at the minute for good reason. But the thing that it's not even a positive, but he did make changes early. His first changes were in the 55th minute. So, do you know, sometimes you look at managers, they're going, is he going to make a change? Is he going to make a change?
Yeah, Darren Moore was a stiffler for that, wasn't he? He used to take too long to make his changes.
He made a change. He brought Fletcher and brought Patterson and Windass on for Delgado and Buckley. So he makes the change. There's just nothing there. And I think you could have made any changes, brought anyone on, and the players just did not. They're just not up to it, are they? They're not up for
Ash,
it.
You sound absolutely bloody dejected, mate. You absolutely sound raging about it.
I am getting that way. I am not I'm not a manager out and everything. I tweeted from the thing. It's me that does it a lot, but said I'd give him 10 games. I don't want him now.
He's got to go.
But
if you look as well at the third goal was very, very similar to Ipswich's goal.
Yeah,
if you look at
the third one or the second one, because their second one was quite sexy, and we had that little nutmeg.
It was the one over. I'm sure the third one was over the top.
Clean
Dijon was where Palmer had been stood in the Ipswich game, just completely out of position, playing as a centre back. And you've got to look at the constant chopping and changing of the side. I mean, I offers on the bench. You got Patterson coming on, and Patterson is a squad player, but Patterson coming on. Hendrick, how does Hendrick get ahead of Byers? How
Byers has grown that mustache and he deserves to be benched.
We all knew, didn't we? We'd all probably agree that midfield three didn't need altering, did it? And he didn't bring anyone in that made it any better.
Well, where's Vogts disappeared to?
How much did people say, and there were, and I said it before, is that midfield three in the League One was a cheat code. It was made to measure for the Championship.
Absolutely right.
We've not seen it once yet, have we?
No, we haven't.
We've not seen that midfield three. And yes, I get
frozen out.
Yeah, I get that that's a different manager, a different way of playing and all that. And he only played 2 in the centre against Swansea. But it's not worked in the last 7 games.
Do you think now?
Yes, they're not your men. Oh, sorry, I'm going to start ranting anyway. Go on, sorry.
No, crack on.
I'm just thinking. I think I've got it in my head that Xisco, rightly wrongly, he's probably not bought these players. It'll probably be in Chancery's advisors have bought these players or whatever. But I think he's got a real problem with the players that got promoted last season.
Yeah,
I think he's thinking.
Yeah.
They're Darren Moore's. We've said his name. I know, but they're Darren Moore's men. They were Sheffield Wednesday men last season, 120 days ago, whatever the fuck it was.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and Xisco's got a real. I think he's got an issue with them because we all knew we needed players. We did. Yeah. We said we needed
depth.
We needed depth. We got it, and we knew. But the players that he's brought in, apart from Valentin for a half, Buckley is looking all right. He's not been there enough, and Vasquez is getting into it now. I've been dog shit.
Yeah. It's almost like he's got
dog shit or not played in the right positions and not had enough game time.
It's almost like he's got an inferiority. He's almost got an inferiority complex because he is absolutely set on not playing players from last season.
Yes.
He's absolutely set on not playing people in the position they should be playing. He's set on, Christ, how is it that we, as the Wednesday week, Charlie, Holly, Steve, Blair, we can all see that the one up front is not working, and yet the manager cannot see that it's not working. And he's a guy who's supposedly a professional coach. He can't see it working. When he's criticised, I mean, the interview
comments
with him after the game were laughable. The fact he was actually laughing about the fans, he strikes me as being either massively arrogant or has some sort of inferiority complex that nobody can criticise him. I just don't get it at all.
I think
whatsoever.
For me, the laugh. There was somebody tweeted the other day, and it was Odebayo against I think it was Barnsley, where it looked like he high-fived the geezer. He didn't, right? And then the laugh at the end. I think there was a bit of gallows humour to that as well. I genuinely couldn't give a shit. It's more the comments he made after the game where we'll continue working. Yawn. You know what I mean? We've got no quality in the last third. Yeah, we know. So do something to Barty, you silly sod. What are you doing? So what is it? You know what I mean?
He's got to change it up, hasn't he? He keeps sticking with the same formation and just putting... We spoke about this a while ago.
Play your best players.
Well, he doesn't. He's just sticking fucking square holes. Sorry, drop the F-bomb. Square holes, square pegs in round holes. You know, I'm going to get told off by the YouTube police now. Apologies.
That's it.
But
the sponsors are running as we speak. That's right. Where did Manscaped go?
Yeah. But he's taken this. It's ruining what was actually the spine of a good team. He's ruining it. He's almost like that kid who's come in, and my mum and dad have bought me Lego Technics Formula One car, and he's come in and his mum and dad have bought him Duplo, and he's got hold of my car that I spent weeks to build, and he's just smashing it up and going, I don't want it anymore. There you go.
I'll tell you
jealous.
What, Simon, have you got younger cousins that came around your house? That was a very specific example of
It maybe was, but he's just taking something that and this is probably why it's really annoying us, because in our recent memory, even old people like me, we were good. We actually thought that we had something that we could build upon, and he's gone and got it. Off now. Yeah, sorry.
Listen to it now.
I think sometimes you just know from being a fan as long as we have, sometimes the appointment is just wrong, and it's wrong very early on. We saw that with Tony Pulis, and we're seeing it with this guy. They don't deserve 10 or 12 games. It's just a bad fit, and it just needs to change, and it needs to change fast.
Absolutely. I tell you what, we're going to add on that, Arash. Go on, son.
No, I was just going to say that on John's point there, I think it compounds what's happening on the whole of the club, doesn't it? I think what happens on the pitch is a precursor to a lot of the feelings of the fan base. I'm not saying that it needs to change people's thoughts on the club and the owner and stuff, but if we'd have won 4 out of the 7, if we'd have even got a couple of wins and a couple of good performances, but it starts on the pitch, doesn't it? Starts and then that's it. And it's just the owner has plucked a guy out from Cyprus that the only thing on his CV is I know CVs are all thing, but has got promotion with Watford with a Premier League team back to the Premier League. And that is, I can see, and please anyone that tell me I'm wrong, is all he's got. And I get all this where you've got to give managers chances and stuff, but I'd rather give a younger manager a chance. I know he's only young himself, but a younger manager that's not got a bit hungry. He doesn't seem hungry. He doesn't come across as one of those managers. It might just be the way he is. It's like John says, it's just been the poor decision.
Well, I tell you what, let's go back to what we're talking about then. So
everyone.
Back in I was going to say, let's try and laugh at something, for God's sake. So back in on Tuesday, we had our first proper protest led by the 1867 group, the anonymous 1867 group. And the guys have said that the reason they remain anonymous is that they're worried about retrospective action from the club saying you're not coming anymore. And then I think Wednesday Till I Die said that they've been told that was going to happen, and then somebody from the club contacted them saying that that's not the case. But I tell you what, given what's happened at Scunthorpe today, a fan has been banned from because he said nasty things on Twitter, and he can't take his boy to the football anymore. What is football anymore? So, John, let's talk about this protest. I think it was Ash. You tweeted from our account it was 49 balls, or did they say it was 49 balls?
I just thought 49 balls is a good number, isn't it?
It was a good number. John, I counted 15. What did you reckon to it?
They didn't seem a great deal, and most of what I did see was off the north stand. I think there was probably about 2 that came off the cop that I could see. But bearing in mind, it's very early stages of a protest, so it's there really to get people's awareness of that the club is the fans aren't happy. Section of the fans aren't happy with the running of the club by the owner, and I think it's just to kind of look. We're not just going to sit back and watch us just tumble back down to League One and sign all these rubbish players and nothing change. And I think it was just to gain awareness, and I think they are planning something further when we look on social media.
Well, I'll tell you what, let's get to that, and I'm gonna come to each of you on this one, John. What are your opinions of this 1867 group? I want to put all 3 of you on the spot and ask you the same question.
I'm unhappy. I think we're all unhappy. And I think we're probably all unhappy enough to want to, as feelings to be known to the chairman. I guess it's just how do you do it? What's the most effective way? What's the most professional way of doing it, if you like? I don't know, because you could just stick cards up in a stand saying Chancery out. You can congregate around the directors area and try and, you know, make your feelings known there, or you can do. We've seen Charlton do it when they had bad ownership, and now ourselves are trying to follow a similar model and actually throw things onto the pitch, which again, you know, it has got its divisive opinion, because you wanted to make your feelings known, but you potentially stopping the momentum, stopping the game, could be on top. You don't know.
To be honest, I couldn't give a shit about that. You know what I mean? It's going to be a minute. It's going to be a minute-long disruption. But I mean, like, what are your real thoughts about it? I mean, have you got any? I mean, all three of you, have you got any ideas about what we could do as a club to get our voices heard? Because on one hand, right, we've got a chairman that has these fans forum, but then they're like we discussed last week, they're the illusion of feedback, right? And then on the other hand, we're chanting, we're singing, we're screaming, chucking balls on the pitch, and he's not listening to us. Like, I mean, what are your real thoughts on it?
Well, I think Ash summed it up earlier with the biggest word when you describe Wednesday fans is loyalty. And I think the hardest thing to do when you love the club like we do, whichever owners come and go, the hardest thing to do is not go. Some will, because obviously ticket prices, because some can't afford it.
Yeah. I think this is the first time we're going to gather momentum on people not going.
But yeah, I think the most effective is to hit them in the pocket, isn't it, and not turn up, and the crowds dwindle, and that sends a message, doesn't it? But so many don't want to do that because they love the club. They're not listening,
and they'll lose their TPP points.
Yeah. So, you know, some say, but attend and then turn your back on the game on certain minute. I mean, like,
grow up.
Weird sort of Poznan, isn't it? You know, I mean, you know,
isn't it?
I don't know. But
who's going to pay 51 quid to stand there and look at his ass? You know what I mean? Like, what?
Yeah.
I tell you what, Simon. Go on. What do you think? What do you think about the whole consortium itself?
I think the thing you've got to do is that you've got to look at. There is a groundswell of people who feel that there needs to be some sort of change. So, but purely by starting a Twitter group and then trying to instill some sort of rebellion via Twitter, in my mind, is misguided. There are a number of fans groups. I think Wednesdayites still exist. I think the supporters group still exists. Then you need to garner the support in numbers, because 700 people follow us on Twitter probably turns into 10 people who are going to throw tennis balls.
And people forget that Twitter itself is a bit of a microcosm as well.
Absolutely.
Like, you know what I mean? It's really difficult to try and look at Twitter and not think that this is everybody's consensus.
Absolutely.
Even though it's where people go to mourn.
And what can be done through the podcasts as well is to pull numbers together and have a genuine discussion on the way forward. Because by shouting, we discussed this, didn't we, on Saturday, Ash, over a couple of beers, in regards to, you know, you've got to be careful what you wish for, because our chairman could theoretically walk away from the club, lock the gates, and not ever let us back in again.
And he can afford to do that as well.
And he can afford to do that. That's done, finished, right? Okay. We were talking again off air about the proposed purchasers of Everton Football Club, who own Hertha Berlin and are making a great mess of running Hertha Berlin. And you've got to worry them that they'll carry on and adopt that over at Everton's ground. So you've got to, and bear in mind, you have to be careful what we wish for, because when Chancery bought the club, we were all, this is brilliant, fantastic, and all these players come in. Look where we are now. So you do have to be careful what you wish for. But the only way you can garner that support is in numbers and by having a debate about it, not throwing tennis balls on the pitch. So it needs to bring all the supporters groups together through the podcast, ourselves, Wednesday Till I Die, and all the others, and have a discussion about it, and not go down the route of somebody's going to bring 10 balloons to the next game, stuff like that. because Chancellor is not even here anyway. He's back in Thailand, isn't he?
Yeah,
so it's got to be planned in such a way. But you're right. Who's going to pay 51 quid and then turn the back on?
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. I tell you what my issue is, Simon. I've got two issues, right? The first one is we keep looking for something gimmicky, and I agree with you that there is professional ways and there are proper ways in which to protest your club. Blackpool did it very well, and all of a sudden went flying up in terms of attendances and stuff like that. And then they got out of League One, went into the Championship, and all of a sudden they started signing decent players as well. They had Neil Critchley in charge, who did all right with them because they all just stopped going. Every one of them. They were playing in front of empty stadiums for a couple of years, weren't they, to get rid of it? The second issue I've got with the 1867 group, and this is a weird one. Now, I don't know if any of you guys are old enough to remember, and bear with me on this one because this is out there, is the Yorkshire Ripper, right? The Yorkshire Ripper committed these atrocities across our county. But then what he did to goad the police was send these really sinister sounding, in his little weird-side accent, really sinister sounding voice notes, didn't he?
That wasn't the Yorkshire Ripper. That was somebody else.
Well, it could have been, right. I'm glad you've corrected me on that one. I said I got pelters on Twitter, but I was going through some of their tweets earlier on, and that's what it sounds like to me. Right? Are you ready? If I do the accent, are you ready? I'll read it out to you. It was really sinister when it went. After last night's protest, I've been on Sky Sports, Talk Sport and BT Sports. It's no time to prepare for the next protest. As we promised, the choice is up to you. It sounds like that in the geezer who did Big Brother. Do you know what I mean? Like what? Why are you saying it like that? Dear 42 in the Big Brother weird side.
I thought you were going to do it in Chanceria voice, and I thought where you were going with this.
I think the Yorkshire Ripper accent instead.
You mentioned that in regards to Yorkshire Ripper, but at the time, if you watch the thing on Netflix about it, a lot of people, the police blamed it basically on sex workers, and it turned out that a number of them weren't sex workers who were killed, and women went to the streets and protested about that, about the way the police handled
Simon.
it.
What a segue!
So look, the Germans do it. They don't go to they go to the game, but what they do is they don't turn up till 10 minutes before kickoff, and they'll march. Can you imagine 25,000 Wednesday fans marching down Herries Road all together with banners, etc.? That's going to be far more effective. You still go to the game. I know you're shaking your head here, but you still go to the game. But you
can't get in turnstiles when you turn up half an hour.
You can't. But
listen, there's a reason I've left Ash till last, because Ash, you're on. Is it the fan engagement panel that you're on? Okay. Yes. So what I want from you is a really measured version now. You know what I mean? There's no Yorkshire Ripper accents. Like, what's the plans? Have you had any comms? Are you allowed to talk about it? This type of thing. Go on. Give me some actual knowledge.
No, I can only give you my point of view of this. And I'm going to probably get pelters and everything, but I couldn't give two shits. Football is an escape for me. I'm lucky enough and I appreciate people can't afford season tickets and stuff like that. I can. I'm lucky enough for that. I go with my son. It's been a few years that I've really reconnected with my son. It's time for us. We go home and away. It's all that. I understand people's frustrations about the owner and what he's doing and what he's not doing. What I would like, and I'm not for him to go, I would like him, and it won't happen. So I can say I want him to step back. I want him to get football people in who are going to do something, who know how to run a club, who know the ins and outs of football, not just business, football, because that is what a lot of fans, I think, have got a gripe about. He doesn't know about football. He hasn't, in 8 years. What has he learned from being at a football club in 8 years? Fuck all. He's not took 1 ounce of criticism. He's not took advice. He has a team of advisors. Who the hell are these advisors? and it's not Paxow, it's not just him. There's got to be other advisors. What is he doing? I really can't. I get it, and I'm not one for getting him out. All this Chancery out. Of people really took to think, like Simon says, if they really wanted him out, which a lot do, he goes up Tuesday morning, locks the door out. You've got to find over £1 million a month he puts into the club just to keep it running. So people want him out, and like Simon said, just careful what you wish for. I don't want him out because he's got the money to run the club at the minute. Not successfully, but to keep the gates open. I want him to just listen to what thousands are saying. People who love football aren't in the football business, but can see what's happening and what's not happening, and say, look, bring people in, bring someone in. And what I get from the club, and when we've had all these fan engagement meetings and things, is that it's him. The buck stops with him, and there's no one else. Some of the roles and responsibilities that people have got, there's multiple ones. How can you have a structured management team that's got like in charge of everything? And like you got guys, you got Liam Dooley, you got Trevor Braithwaite, Alistair, I can't remember his surname. Apologies, Alistair, if you ever listen. And Rob the cook. And that's his management team that we can see that I've ever dealt. Now that's not a proper management team, and they report to Mr. Chancery, and that's it. And whatever the things is, the buck stops with him. So I want him to step back with his money and say, look, because he is a businessman, no doubt. He can't keep losing money. And losing money. 150 to 200 million he's put into the club. Whatever you believe, it's got to be up there. He's just not learning. And if I was losing money on something, hand over fist every month, and someone come up to me and said, look, I can stop you losing this, and your wife's going to like you because you're not losing money every month. And it's like, well, yeah, please do that. I'll step back. But he's not, is it?
You were doing really well, and I thought that's a really good point, Ash. I was really sensible, and then in my head now, he's going home and going, "All right, babe, shit day at work," and she sat there with a rolling pin and her hair in curls, going, "Where's all our fucking money? You fucking idiot, mate."
She's got the bank statement. Got the bank statement going, how much did you spend on shit shirts?
That's my thoughts on it.
5,000 pencils with Sheffield Wednesday on them.
Yeah, that's sensible, Ash. I'm in your camp. That's
Sorry,
pie in the sky thinking.
Rambled on there, everyone. Sorry, I rambled.
No,
on.
I think it was great. I think it's exactly what we need.
Yeah, I think.
But I don't know if it would happen.
No, and that's another point in itself. But yeah, I agree completely with that, Ash. And just to touch upon running a different sports team and how it can work a lot better. Me and Dan, obviously, being Miami Dolphins fans, they have an owner, our owner, Stephen Ross, and he just signs the checks. And he has a general manager, and then they have all the scouts and everything like that. He just signs the checks. Go on, you just sign who you want to.
That's what 90% of football owners do.
Yeah. And now we've got Tyreek Hill, who's just the best player in the league. Like, you know what I mean? So all hail Tyreek Hill and A-Chain.
Sorry, Dan. What on one of the things, and there's a lad who comes with us on the away days. Shout out to Jack. He's quite vociferous again in his.
Vociferous.
That's the one. I will get it right in his thoughts and his things. And his point is I said, well, we're losing £1 million a month on wages, whatever. And he's like, well, what's the biggest thing? And one of the biggest things that Chancery said in one of his fan forums is the stadium costs so much. It's old, it's falling down, X, Y, Z. But he sold it to himself a few years ago, didn't he? To like Sheffield 4
so it's not
Sheffield
costing
2.
it us. It's not costing the club. It's costing him.
Yeah. So the Sheffield 2, the company, are charging Sheffield Wednesday, no doubt, the club, rent I don't know, whatever, however it works. So they're taking X amount out of the club, but he set all that up. And that's the sort of stuff, isn't it, where his advisors, somebody who said this will be a good idea, it's not. Yep. And we got caught out with it a few years ago with all the points deductions, which were his fault.
But we've done that now, so why is it not paying off?
Exactly, yeah. Yeah, you mentioned Blackpool. Yeah, they're going through a bit of sticky patch now. They've gone up over that hill and back. They're going back down. Yeah. But they went through points deductions. Other clubs have gone through points deductions, come out the other side a hell of a lot better.
Yeah.
And we haven't. We're still there. Yes, we may be a league above, but we're still hemorrhaging money. And he's still the top guy with nobody. Because you'd think that somebody underneath, a CFO, a director of football, whatever you want to call him, he's got an answer to it. And you could, for him, it'd be, well, I fired him because he was doing a shit job. And all fans would be going, yeah, director of football, we weren't doing very good. We were signing crap players. But it's not now, is it? It's Chancery, everything. Mm-hmm. So he's not that clever, because I'd put someone under me that shit rolls downwards,
that's going to get the pelters. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
A bit of a shield.
Yeah, I've just had 3 text messages off my deputy manager tonight, and I've just ignored him because I know it's an unpopular decision that needs to be made in about 20 minutes' time when we finish this.
Yeah, so that's my. I'm sorry for ranting on everyone listening. You don't want to hear me, but that's where I'm at with the. And I know I skipped over the 1867 group a little bit because but you know,
I actually dipped out the conversation and came back into it, and you were saying, well, he's not listening to people, he's not taking notice. I thought we'd gone back to Cisco again, to be honest. So
it's just arrogant men.
So many parallels.
Arrogant men being arrogant. And listen, thanks a lot for that, chaps. Listen, I'm going to wrap this up, but I just need to put football rivalries aside just for a couple of moments and just offer our condolences to the Sheffield United ladies football team, Maddie Cusack's family. It's really sad when somebody of that age loses their life, and I truly hope that you're all okay. And that's from us, everybody, at the Wednesday week. In the meantime, does anybody have any other business that's not a whinge or a moan? All right, yeah, fuck that.
Can I come back to you on that one?
I'll see you next week.
We've got Sunderland, haven't we, on Friday night? We've got Sunderland, haven't we?
We've got Sunderland coming up. Now, our predictions aren't the most bestest. John, I'll come to you first. Sunderland coming up. Who apparently have got the same accent as Chancery's wife. So why you fucking dig about them fucking Mackens?
How many pencils?
Oh gosh, yeah. Sunderland, another team that went up and showed us how you should do it when you go up and build on success and continuity, and scoring goals and in good form. So yeah, it's going to be a comfortable 2-0 for them, I think.
2-0 to Sunderland, yeah?
Yeah.
Simon, what do you think is going to fucking happen against the fucking Mackhams?
Debshon, where have you taken me golden elephants? They're in the living room, and now where are they? Mate, they've scored 3, 4. Did they put 4 against Southampton?
Something like that. They battered
5.
So I think they've scored something like 11, 12 goals in the last so many games. I'll be surprised if it's not 3-0.
3-0. And then Ashley lad, what are you saying? God, it's been about 25 years since I've said that to you like that.
Yeah. Well, we've had 4 shots on target in the last 3 games. We've got an average of something like 42% of possession, I think it is, over the last 3 games. Sunderland have scored, 11 goals and conceded 2 in the last 4 games. 3 in fact. The last against Cardiff last game. I'm just looking at the stats here, so I'm building it up to, the inevitable.
Yeah.
It's going to be a 2-1 Wednesday win.
You know what, you rat bastard.
I knew you were going to say that. I really
knew. For all I've moaned and chastised the club and everything, I have really got to keep plugging the win. It's it's got to come. It's getting a bit ridiculous now. And if we do not get maximum points on Friday, then there will be a job opening at Sheffield Wednesday, I believe.
There has to be. There has to be.
Oh, right, there has to be, yeah.
Yeah. I was going to go with 1-0 purely because when you're reeling those stats off, you kind of think to yourself, and this is what keeps me going week in, week out, right? If we knew what was going to happen on a football pitch, I would put Sky Bet out of bloody business. You know what I mean? But there's always that result. There's always that coupon buster that just upsets everything. So I've gone with 1-0. Listen, thanks a lot for joining. Go on.
Sorry, when you said, like, you know, Wednesday v Sunderland, what I just had that gif in my head where it's like Adrian from Rocky IV, and she's just like, "You can't win." Just like, Adrian.
Win. You can't fucking do this fucking boxing. I can fucking win. I'm going to be speaking like that all night. It's very difficult to get out of it. In the meantime, thanks a lot for joining us.
This podcast is proud to be part of the TalkSport Fan Network. TalkSport. Powered by fans.